Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the City of Somerville, Massachusetts Condo Review Board, dated March 24th, 2025. Pursuant to Chapter 2 of the Acts of 2023, this meeting of the Condo Review Board will be conducted via remote participation. We will post an audio recording, audio-video recording, transcript, or other comprehensive record of these proceedings as soon as possible following the meeting on the City of Somerville's website and local cable access government channels. All right. On that note, Marina, if we can please conduct a roll call vote to ensure we have a quorum.
Okay. Chair Zaslav.
Present.
Vice Chair Byrne.
Present.
Board Member Simeon.
Present.
Board Member Solis.
Present.
With 4 in attendance, we have a quorum.
All right. At this time, I will now call this evening's meeting to order, dated Monday, March 24th, 2025. And the first administrative items in front of the board this evening on the agenda are reviewing the meeting minutes from October 15th, 2024, December 16th, 2024, and February 3rd, 2025. At this time, I would motion to open the floor for discussion amongst the board. If anyone has any edits or changes they would like to see added or removed to the meeting minutes for those 3 months.
They all seemed perfectly fine to me.
All right. Seeing there are no additions, edits, changes to be made for the meeting minutes for October 15th, December 16th, 2024, and February 3rd, 2025, I will now move to motion for the board to vote on the approval of those meeting minutes as stated.
Now I'll second that motion.
Okay, this is a vote to approve the meeting minutes for October 15th, 2024, December 16th, 2024, and February 3rd, 2025. Chair Zaslav.
Yes.
Vice Chair Byrne.
Yes.
Board Member Simeon.
Yes.
Board Member Solis.
Yes.
The motion passes.
All right. Moving through the agenda, we have new business in front of the board this evening, and that is the review of applications for final and or courtesy permits. The first application from the board is the application of Select Realty Trust. Joseph Bartolotto and Douglas Sylvester are seeking final conversion permits for units 1 and 2 located at 11 Harrison Road. I believe, is it Attorney Vigorito representing?
Yep. Attorney Vigorito, you've been unmuted.
Thank you. This is Attorney Ann Vigorito from 424 Broadway, Somerville. I am here this evening on behalf of Select Realty Trust. I was before the board back on January 22nd of 2024, at which time we received conditional approvals. Since that time, the 1 year has lapsed. You have received a master deed as well as a letter dated January 27th of 2025 from Peter Quinn Architects relative to structural engineering of the building. So at this time, we would be asking for the final permits. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Attorney Vigorito. Motion to open the floor for board discussion. If any board members have any questions regarding the application of 11 Harrison Road, units 1 and 2.
No questions.
All right.
No question.
Seeing there's no questions or discussion amongst the board, motion to close the floor for board discussion and motion to open the floor for public commentary. If anyone in the virtual audience would like to speak in favor or against this final conversion permit in front of the board this evening for 11 Harrison Road, now would be the time to do so.
I don't see any hands.
All right, public commentary, motion to close the public commentary. And in reviewing the application, we have now received the 2 outstanding documents which complete the outstanding requirements. and that was the master deed and engineer's report. Previously, all other outstanding documents were provided: certificate of good standing, paid water bill, quitclaim deed, check in the amount of $1,200 to cover the 2 units in question, and the notice period has now expired. Seeing there are no other outstanding documents in the application is now in good standing, I will make a motion for the board to vote on the final conversion permits for units 1 and 2 located at 11 Harrison Road.
Okay, this is a vote for final conversion permits for units 1 and 2 at 11 Harrison Road. Chair Zasloff,
Yes.
Vice Chair Byrne,
Yes.
Board Member Simeon,
Yes.
Board Member Solis.
Yes.
The motion passes.
Thank you and have a good evening.
You too. Thank you. All right, moving along, the next application in front of the board seeking a final conversion permit is the application of 56-58 Oliver Street Condo Trust, Max Almazar, who's seeking a final conversion permit for unit 1 at 56-58 Oliver. And they are also seeking an adjustment of notice period on the start date for unit 2. Do we have the representative for this application online? Looks like we do.
Hi, this is Max Almanzor. Can anyone hear me?
We can.
Great. Yes, I'm here to speak for the condo association.
Okay.
Yes, so in the previous meeting, we submitted our document around how this was an unpermitted condominium conversion. The condominium had been, or the building had been converted to condominiums a few years back, but it looked like some of the paperwork was not in order. So we were trying to rectify that so that we could get the proper documents done, as well as get the certificate of occupancy for the units. So we got preliminary approval last meeting, and would like to get final approval now.
All right. Very good. Thank you. I will now motion to open the floor for board discussion. If any board members have any questions for the applicant.
All right.
Vice Chair Byrne.
No, I have no questions.
No question.
All right. Seeing no questions from the board, motion to close the floor for board discussion and motion to open the public commentary for 56-58 Oliver Street. Anyone in the virtual audience would like to speak in favor or against the final conversion permits in front of the boards for units 1 and unit and adjusting the notice period for unit 2 at 56-58 Oliver, now would be the time to do so.
I don't see any hands.
Public commentary is now closed. In reviewing the application,
I'm sorry, Chair Zasloff, someone may have raised their hands. Mr. Farley, your hand keeps going up and down, so I'm going to unmute you in case you want to speak.
Can you hear me okay?
yes.
Okay, I apologize about that. I was having issues on my side. But yeah, this is Brandon Farley, just here representing Moreno Barnard, who is the owner of Unit 2. And we were just wanting to comment on behalf of that, because obviously, as Max had said, this is one that has been from previous, and it was converted back in 2012, and we're just speaking in favor of it.
Okay. Thank you very much for that testimony for the record. Any other comments from the public?
I don't see any other hands.
All right, public commentary is now closed for units 1 and 2 at 56-58 Oliver Street. In reviewing the application, it's a unique.
I'm sorry if I can just interrupt. There's I just wanted to make sure we understand. There are 3 units in the building: Unit 1, Unit 2, and Unit 3.
Yes, Unit 3 is currently tenanted, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt. I
Sorry.
just wanted to make sure that was
Chair
understood.
Zasloff, if I could just give sort of a clarifying overview.
Absolutely.
So Unit 1 is before the board for the final conversion permit. That is the owner occupied unit that Mr. Almanzor occupies. Unit 2 is currently vacant, and that's before the board seeking a change of the notice period start date dating back to, and I think when the board makes its motion, it should be clear about what date, which I believe is August 20th. Please correct me if I'm wrong. It's dating back to when tenants were originally notified. And then unit 3 is still presently tenanted. So the tenants do have the 1-year notice period. So that one will be,
Preliminary.
that one will have it will stay as a preliminary permit, and then that one can apply for a final once their notice period has expired.
Okay, so
Unit 3 is not before the board tonight.
okay, that's what I wanted. All
Yep.
right, that's what I thought. And then should we handle unit 1 and unit 2 separately, since one's getting a final conversion, or I guess they're
It
both
should,
final?
unit 2 will stay as a preliminary. It's just the change of the notice period start date. It should likely be 2 separate motions just to keep it separate.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah. And I'll just note that Mr. Farley has his hand raised again.
Okay. Mr. Farley, you have the floor.
Yes, I was just curious. So on the preliminary permit, because this had obviously been converted back in 2012, on the waiting period, regardless, it's still a 1-year waiting period, and we're just looking to adjustment. Am I understanding that correctly?
Yes.
Okay,
Sorry.
thank you.
All right. So at this time, I'm prepared to make a motion for the board to vote on a final conversion permit for unit 1 located at 56-58 Oliver Street.
Okay, this is a motion to issue final permits for unit 1 at 56-58 Oliver Street. Chair Zasloff,
Yes.
Vice Chair Byrne,
Yes.
Board Member Simeon,
Yes.
Board Member Solis.
Yes.
The motion passes.
All right. And at this time, I will now make a motion to vote on for the board to vote on a preliminary conversion permit for unit 2 with the notice date of August 20th, and that vote will require the 1-year waiting period starting August 20th.
Can I rephrase that and then you let me
Yep.
know if it worked? Yep. So this would be a vote to change the notice period start date of the unit 2 preliminary rental permit to August 20th, 2024. And it would still have it would still be a 1-year notice period starting from that date.
Yeah. Okay. So motion for the board to vote to change the notice period for unit 2 with a start date of August 20th, 2024, which will be 1 year from that date.
Okay. A vote to change the notice period, as Chair Zasloff just stated, for unit 2 at Chair Zasloff,
Yes.
Vice Chair Byrne,
Yes.
Board Member Simeon,
Yes.
Board Member Solis.
Yes.
The motion passes.
Thank you. Good luck to the applicants there.
Thank you very
Right.
much.
Glad we were able to clean that up for you guys and get things in order for you. All right, moving along in this agenda this evening, we are now into the preliminary condo conversion permits. First application from the board is Somerville Community Land Trust, who's seeking a preliminary rental conversion permits for units 1, units 2, units 3, 4, 5, and 6. And I believe we have Ben Baldwin here speaking on behalf of the Somerville Community Land Trust. And these units are to be deed restricted for affordability.
That's correct. Can folks hear me? Hi. Okay. Yes. Hi. So my name is Ben Baldwin. I'm the executive director at Somerville Community Land Trust, a community organization and affordable housing developer. This is our second project here at 12 Pleasant Ave after a success at 7 Summer Street. We just to give some background, this came about through collaboration with the Community Action Agency of Somerville and their housing organizers who worked with, along with other properties around the city, they worked with the residents of 12 Pleasant Ave as it was put up for sale to inform them of their rights and organize them into a tenant union to make sure that they're not being unnecessarily displaced, et cetera. And so Somerville CLT got involved as an opportunity to convert the property to permanent affordability and preserve the tenancies of the 6 existing tenants, and hopefully eventually convert them to 6 first-time home buyers. Somerville CLT used Affordable Housing Trust acquisition funds in early 2024 to purchase the property, and has been putting together renovation scoping and financing for a rehab and conversion to affordable condominium structure for the last year. So now we're here seeking the preliminary conversion permits for all 6 units. As a little more information units 1 through 5 have the same tenants as they did when we purchased it. Unit 6, the tenant moved out at the end of their lease at the end of August of 2024. Which was because they wanted to move in with a 3rd friend into a 3-bedroom, and they have made themselves available for any kind of affidavit, but they moved out of their own accord, and that unit is currently vacant. So I believe that's all I have to say. We look forward to hearing some questions.
Sure. Thank you for that detailed catching us up on all the moving parts with this property. Not an easy task to acquire a property of this scale for the land trust. So congratulations on that. I will now motion open the floor for board discussion. Questions for Mr. Baldwin?
Okay. I actually don't have a question. And I just want to say that I'm really excited about this project, and I'm really happy that the land trust is involved in it, and that you are saving tenancies in Somerville. It's really, really important. And Ben, just by the way, that house is still for sale on Oak Street.
Thank you.
Yeah, this is exciting. I guess I do have a question just to try to understand the time frame with the conversion. So the tenants that are currently residing 1 through 5, they will all be given the opportunity to purchase, or do they all fall within the income restrictions that would make them eligible, I guess?
Yes, that's correct. Yeah, so we believe that all 5 of the current tenants are income eligible to purchase their unit, and we'll be working with them to, ensure their eligibility. There's always a chance they may not want to purchase, which is okay by me, but yes, they are eligible.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I mean, from my standpoint, it would be, a real home run if all 5 of those existing tenants were able and willing to acquire their unit through this land trust. That would be phenomenal to prevent displacement. So encourage you to continue to work with those current tenants to hopefully create home ownership opportunities for them.
Am I allowed to ask out of curiosity if they would be first-time home buyers? Not that it affects any decision here, just curious.
Yeah, I don't know if you're allowed to ask, but I can answer that yes, all of them would be first-time home buyers.
All right, even cooler.
Okay. And so are they're currently residing in the units as you're remodeling them? Sort of how is that process working without displacing the current tenants while remodeling and bringing the building up to date?
Well, no work has begun yet. We have to wait for the condo conversion waiting period to begin construction, which we may be able to be waived by the tenants interested in purchasing. But assuming we have to wait, we will wait until whatever time we have to wait for. But the plan once renovations begin is that we will either utilize the vacant unit to kind of shuffle people around the building, so kind of renovating one unit at a time, or if it's advantageous, possibly move folks to a hotel for the 2, 3, 4 months of renovation and then move them back into their freshly renovated unit. The other thing is that a lot of the really sorely needed capital improvements are the foundation and the main stairway and the roof and things, exterior things. So there may be minimal impact on the interior, although there will be work on the interior of the units.
Okay, great. And with number 6, allowing for the notice period to be waived, is the intention to start the build down on that unit as soon as possible?
To begin the renovations on Unit 6?
Yes.
I hadn't. I suppose if the waiting period can be waived there, we can begin more soon. But there's still a little ways to go on financing the renovation and conversion and putting together the scope. So I think it'll be a little while before that gets started. But if that were an available option, then that's more options is always better than fewer. So yes.
All right, great. Thanks for answering all those questions. I guess
Sure.
maybe that's just one last question from Morena from Unit 6.
Mhm.
Does the notice period get waived by default as part of the?
Yep.
You don't have to vote on that automatic.
Nope. Mhm. Yep.
All right.
If I may speak to Ben, because the units are being deed restricted for affordability, since Unit 6 is vacant, there's already a provision in the ordinance that says that there's no notice period for Unit 6. The other ones have the notice period because the tenants are in place.
Great. Any
Excellent.
other
Yeah, thank you.
questions from fellow board members? All right, great. I will now motion to close the floor for board discussion and motion to open the open the floor for public comments. If anyone in the virtual audience would like to speak in favor or against the application for 12 Pleasant Avenue, units 1 through 6, now would be the time to do so.
I don't see any hands.
Very good. Public motion to close the floor for public commentary and reviewing the application. As we've heard from Mr. Baldwin, units 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 are all tenanted with a 1-year waiting period for units 1 and unit 2, and a 5-year waiting period for 3, 4, and 5. Unit 6, seeing that it is vacant, falls within the waiver window that allows the notice period to be waived. And at this time, we have the certificate of good standing. We have a paid water bill. As part of the application, we have the quitclaim deed. We have an engineer and architect's report in hand, and we have a check in the amount of $3,600 to cover the 6 units. At this time, obviously, we are missing the master deed, which will come at a later date. So I am fine with making a motion for the board to vote on the preliminary rental conversion permits for units 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Marina?
Okay, this is a vote for preliminary rental conversion permits for units 1 through 6 at 12 Pleasant Ave. Yep. Chair Zaslow,
Yes.
Vice Chair Byrne,
Yes.
Board Member Simeon,
Yes.
Board Member Solis.
Yes.
The motion passes.
Congratulations. Look forward to seeing these units come to life. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right, moving along, under the preliminary condo conversion permits, we have the application of Jonathan Bernhardt. In front of the board seeking a preliminary rental conversion permit for unit 7 and a final conversion permit for unit 9, located at 7-9 Charnwood Road.
Good evening. My name is Cindy Sherman. I am representing Jonathan Bernhardt, the owner of 7-9 Charnwood Road. Mr. Bernhardt is seeking a preliminary rental conversion permit for Unit 7 and a final conversion permit for Unit 9. 7-9 Charnwood is a two-family. Mr. Bernhardt currently owns the entire building. He occupies Unit 9. This is a little bit of a unique situation. His former spouse occupies Unit 7, and pursuant to the provisions of their separation agreement, she is permitted to continue to rent that unit for quite a period of time into the future. So at this point, he is seeking the final conversion permit for the unit that he occupies and a preliminary rental conversion for Unit 7, which is currently rented by his ex-spouse. The applicant has submitted a complete application including his proof of residential property tax exemption, his certificate of good standing, final water bill and paid receipt, a copy of his deed, certified checks in the amount of $1,200, a property condition report, and the master deed, and respectfully requests that the board allow both of the conversion permits.
Very good. Thank you very much. This time I will make a motion to open the floor for board discussion, questions, if any board members. Any follow-up for the representative?
No questions.
No questions.
I do see the representative has their hand up. Was that up?
Sorry.
Do you have a question?
No, I don't. I wasn't sure if I needed to raise my hand or if I was just going to get unmuted. So,
Okay. No worries. All right. Seeing there's no conversation questions from the board, motion to close the floor for board discussion and motion to open the floor for public commentary. If anyone in the virtual audience would like to speak in favor or against the final conversion permit for unit, the preliminary rental conversion permit for unit 7 and the final conversion permit unit for unit 9, both located at 7-9 Charnwood Road. Now would be the time to do so.
I do see a hand.
Okay. Hello.
Hi, can you hear me? This is Christina.
Hi, Christina.
Hi, I'm Christina Linklater, the former spouse of Jonathan Bernhardt. I'm just seeking to confirm preliminary rental conversion permit means that Unit 7 is being turned into a condo, correct?
Well, it's
Or that's what we're trying to do.
it would be the first step, yes.
Okay, great. I just wasn't quite sure of the language. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Very good. Any other statements regarding unit 7?
I don't see any other hands.
Okay. Seeing there's no other commentary from the public, motion to close the floor for public commentary. In reviewing the application, unit 7 is tenanted currently by the former spouse of the current owner. who resides in Unit 9. There is a notice period on Unit 7, which the tenant plans to stay for the foreseeable future. At this time, we have all documentation in good standing. We have the residential exemption, certificate of good standing, paid water bill, quitclaim deed, master deed, engineer's report, and $1,200, check in the amount of $1,200 to cover the 2 units in question. Seeing there's no other outstanding items to be submitted with the application, I'm prepared to make a motion for the board to vote on the preliminary rental conversion permit for Unit 7 and the final conversion permit for Unit 9 located at 7-9 Charnwood Road.
Chair Zasloff, sorry, if I could ask you to, well, I would say let's separate the votes. And if you could just state when the notice period for Unit 7, because it's so long, just to have it sort of on the record, that it goes into, I think it's 2030. I think the date, yeah, you've got the date, right? Yeah.
2030. Okay. All right, so we'll separate these out into 2 votes. And I see we have Board Member Solis has her hand up.
Sorry, is it okay to open it to a question for me at this point in the, is it okay for me to comment right now or no?
Well, I can open the floor to give you that opportunity.
Would you mind? I'd like to request that. I just have a quick question.
Absolutely. So before we conduct a vote, Board Member Solis has question or commentary for the applicant. So I will now motion to open the floor and grant her the ability to speak.
Thank you, Chair Zaslav. I just want to be clear. I think primarily the ex-spouse of the applicant asking the question if this is an application, excuse the cat in the background, is it if this is an application to turn the unit into a condo, and then the statement that for the separation agreement, the ex-spouse is allowed to remain a tenant far into the future. I guess I'm just wondering if the timing of the notice period and the committed rental period from a ruling outside of our group, if those are going to collide or if that's going to cause any I don't know. I'm not trying to ask outside of our purview. It's like a little pink flag went up for me with just sort of someone guaranteed tenancy in the building that's being turned to turned into a condo. I don't know if anyone can comment. Maybe I'm just overthinking or maybe I'm confused or both. I've just never seen an applicant come through where someone has been by another court or another legal document approved tenancy for a certain amount of months. So I just don't know if we're going to run into anything with that.
I mean, the one thing that I could foresee happening is if Christina does reside in the unit through the extended lease terms, Mr. Bernhardt will have to come back in front of the board to reacquire a permit because the time will have lapsed. Correct me if I'm wrong, Marina.
No, so the ordinance allows for the or actually I think it might even require it that if there is an extended lease term, that the notice period for a permit be extended to meet that lease term. So whenever you've got a lease term that's longer than what the notice period that the ordinance would permit, then the notice period automatically goes to whenever that lease term is, which is why I was saying earlier that we should make it clear that the notice period is not going to expire until I believe it's sometime in 2030. I don't have the exact date off the top of my head. So there should not be any friction between the condo notice period and the the separation agreement and she also, Ms. Linklater has a standard lease too, and that also goes into the period that's covered by the separation agreement. So all three will have the same date.
Perfect. Thank you so much for that clarification. I don't have any other comments. Thank you.
Thank you, Board Member Solis. And I see the representative has her hand up. While we have the floor open, I will grant her the opportunity to speak.
Attorney Sherman.
I was muted. Sorry about that. Yeah, just to clarify, the understanding is correct. But what I want to take into account is the possibility that Ms. Linklater could decide that she does not want to stay until 2030. So in terms of the notice provision, there is a lease that runs until August 31st of 2030. But for example, the parties are in communications now about Ms. Linklater possibly buying the unit. Presumably, if she did that, we would be in a different situation because now it would be the tenant purchasing the unit. I just want to make sure that we're not going to be prevented from doing that prior to August of 2030, or that if she were to move out of her own volition, that Mr. Bernhardt would be prevented at that point from coming in and seeking a permanent certificate prior to 2030.
Yeah. So Morena, I guess question just for clarification, if Ms. Linklater was to move out of the unit 7 prior to the lease expiring, that would then start a 1-year waiting period from that time on, or is she considered owner occupied?
No. So what the ordinance says is that if a tenant who's covered under a notice period or under the protections of the ordinance, if they vacate voluntarily, and we would ask for them for an applicant to submit that they sign an affidavit stating that it was voluntary, they weren't being evicted for some other reason. So as long as the tenant vacates voluntarily, then the notice period actually ends when the tenant vacates. So then the applicant could come to us early, assuming, and ask for a final permit. Additionally, if Ms. Linklater and Mr. Bernhardt do come to an understanding and she's going to be purchasing the unit, they don't have to wait until the notice period, the current notice period expires. They can do that, and they can also apply for a final permit. They would just need to provide me with a copy of a purchase and sale agreement, but they would be able to apply for a final permit early so that that sale could go through.
Thank you for the clarification.
Okay, yeah, that cleaned up a lot of sort of the unknown amongst the folks here. Ms. Linklater, your hand is up. The floor is yours.
Sorry, am I unmuted?
You are, yes.
Oh, good. Okay, thank you. Yes, just to pipe up and affirm that I definitely want to buy my place. And if something goes wrong and it gets whipped out from under me, then I definitely want to stay until my son finishes high school in 2030.
Understood.
I'm sorry.
No, that's understood. That we have no intention of asking her to leave prior to 2030.
Okay, very good. All right. Motion to close the floor for board discussion. And I think we were at this point, I'm prepared to make a motion to vote on the preliminary rental conversion permit for Unit 7 with an extended lease term running out to 8/31/2030 for that unit. And the tenant in that unit will have first right of refusal when that opportunity comes. Marina, if we can conduct a roll call vote.
Okay, this is a vote for preliminary rental conversion permit for unit number 7 with an extended notice period going through August 31st, 2030. All other tenant protections continue to apply. Chair Zasloff,
Yes.
Vice Chair Byrne,
Yes.
Board Member Simeon,
Yes.
Board Member Solis.
Yes.
The motion passes.
Right, and in conjunction with that, I will now make a motion for the board to vote on the final conversion permit for Unit 9, located at the 7-9 Charnwood Road.
Okay, this is a vote for a final conversion permit for Unit 9 at 7-9 Charnwood Road. Chair Zasloff,
Yes.
Vice Chair Byrne,
Yes.
Board Member Simeon,
Yes.
Board Member Solis.
Yes.
The motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, the final application in front of the board this evening seeking a preliminary condo conversion permit is the application of Satoria LLC, Peter Crawley, who's seeking a preliminary rental conversion permit for Unit 1, Unit 2, and Unit 3 at 3 Hillside Avenue.
Mr. Crawley, you've been unmuted.
Thank you. Good evening. Thanks for the time to present this to you. I'm Peter Crawley. I'm the sole manager and owner of Satoria LLC and the building. This building suffered a small fire back in January of 2024. And when I went in to repair the fire damage, it really revealed many other kind of, do-it-yourself aspects of this home that occurred over the last 50 years. I've only owned it for 9 years. And so one thing led to the other, and I have to replace the entire electrical wiring system to bring it up to code. It didn't have a public meter. There were a number of structural issues. So I honestly didn't intend to convert when I first, because it was a rental property, but my costs as I got into it have been so big that I'm really forced to condo and sell at least 1 or 2 of the units to pay for the renovations. That said, my wife and I will be empty nesters in the fall, and so we are planning to retain 1 of the units for us, and have a converted building. So that's the kind of background to this. And so I'd like to petition the board for some preliminary conversion permits to move forward.
Okay. Thank you very much for that testimony. This time I will now make a motion to open the floor for board discussion. If any members have any questions for Mr. Crawley. Vice Chair.
Thank you. Mr. Crawley, what happened with the tenants that were in the building when you had the fire?
Yeah, thank you. Am I on mute, or you can still hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay. Yes, so the city mandated that all the utilities be shut off on that January 2 night, and all the tenants were relocated. as we got into the renovation and it was clear that a lot more renovations had to take place, I gave the tenants the option of, moving back when the renovation was done. But they all chose, given that the renovation is taking a long time, they all voluntarily sought alternative housing. I paid them all a relocation fee, and actually they all signed a voluntary mutual termination of their current leases that they had with me. None of them chose to stay in the lease. They all moved on and didn't want to wait around. So they're all relocated, and I haven't heard anything from them for, at least 9 months or so.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so.
That's great. Could we get that documentation so we just have it on the record?
Sure, I have releases from all of them. Yep.
Okay, that's fantastic. I'm just curious, what was the relocation amount per unit?
Well, it was $750 per tenant, which in the event of a fire, I believe that's a state law. So we paid that, and so some of them are 3-bedroom units, and one is a 4-bedroom, but there were actually only 3 tenants on the lease, and so
How many tenants were
eight total tenants.
Okay.
Eight total.
Okay. Any other questions from the Moreno? I'll be right to you. I'm going to grant Board Member Solis the floor to speak.
Thank you. How far into the, sorry, how long ago was it when they were displaced due to the fire?
Over like a year and 3 months ago. It's been a year and 3 months. The fire was January 2, 2024.
Okay. And how far into the fixing process would you say you realized it would need to be condos to afford the repairs?
I would say about 5 months into it or so, it was becoming clear that there were structural issues with some of the walls, and 100% of the wiring had to be replaced. It was about that time.
Okay. Sorry, go ahead, Chair Zaslav.
Okay. Morena, the floor is yours. I believe you wanted to make a comment.
Yeah. Mr. Crawley, you mentioned that your intent was to sell 1 or 2 and keep one of them. And the ordinance actually requires that when units were previously used as rentals, that they be sold to, oh my goodness, what is the exact language? In a market, in an arm's length transaction for value. So you actually aren't able to keep the units. You are required to sell all 3 of them. So it would be, you would get a preliminary permit today. It would have the 1-year notice period. So you'd be able to get a final permit as early as March of next year. And then you would need to file a master deed within a year after that final permit is issued, and then have sold all 3 units within a year after that, within 2 years of the final permit being issued. So essentially by March of 2027.
Oh, I need to sell all the units within 2 years of
a final permit.
2 years of final
So
permit.
sorry, so
Okay.
March of 2028, because we're in 2025 now.
Okay.
So 3
Okay,
years from
right.
now.
Right. Okay. Okay. That is something I didn't know, but that will work. I mean, if this is owned in an entity, you know, what if a different entity, this is owned by an entity that does not include my wife, because for various reasons you don't need to know, but if we bought it jointly and severally, would that be considered a new entity buying it at arm's length or not?
Chair Zasloff, if I may, I think that's a question for a lawyer.
Yeah.
It's not up to the board to determine what an arm's length transaction is. So I would suggest just pulling the ordinance and talking to a lawyer and seeing if that would qualify.
Okay. Well, I would definitely want to apply for all 3 units while I'm doing this. And if it turns out that we can't own it, we'll find something else to purchase. But I don't really want to go through this twice.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Very good. Any other questions from the board? For the representative? All right, seeing no other questions. Commentary from the board, motion to close the floor, and motion to open the public commentary. If anyone in the virtual audience would like to speak in favor or against the preliminary rental conversion permit application for units 1, 2, and 3 located at 3 Hillside Avenue, now would be the time to speak.
I don't see any hands.
All right. Seeing there's no public commentary, motion to close the public commentary and reviewing the application. We have units 1, 2, and 3 all vacant due to a previous fire. There is a 1-year waiting period. At this time, we have the certificate of good standing as of March 20th. We have a paid final water bill. We have the quitclaim deed, and we have a check in the amount of $1,800 to cover the 3 units in question. At this time, we are still awaiting a master deed and an engineer's report to complete the application. This will be a conditional vote. And on that note, I will now make a motion for the board to vote on the preliminary rental conversion permits for units 1, 2, and 3 on the condition that the 1-year waiting period is adhered to and the master deed and engineer report is submitted to city staff at a future date.
Okay, this is a vote for preliminary rental conversion permits for units 1, 2, and 3 at 3 Hillside Ave, conditioned as Chair Zasloff just stated. Chair Zasloff?
Yes.
Vice Chair Byrne?
Yes.
Board Member Simeon?
Yes.
Board Member Solis?
Yes.
The motion passes.
Okay. Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, board.
Best of luck.
Can I get one confirmation during that waiting period? Rather than have these vacant and I have a mortgage and everything, I can rent the units, right? And just like for a 1-year lease and tell the tenant that I'm planning on selling them, just as long as they know in advance, it's okay to rent them, right?
Technically, I believe so. Miranda, do you have any sort of specific language around that?
Yeah. So you may rent the units now that you've got preliminary permits. You would just need to let the tenants know in advance of signing any leases that the units are undergoing conversion. So there's specific language in the ordinance that I can email to you tomorrow. And you would just need to have them sign a form acknowledging that the units are undergoing conversion prior to any leases being signed.
Very good. I appreciate that. And I'll look for your email. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. On that note, that concludes tonight's agenda. So I will motion to adjourn.
All right.
But Eric, come on, you can do
Do you
it.
need a second?
We can keep the meeting going for another hour if you'd like.
No, I second it.
All right. On that note, that adjourns this evening's meeting. Everyone stay dry out there, and let's get some spring weather coming in our direction. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank
Thank
you.
Good night.
Okay,
Good
good
night.
night. Good night.